Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is November 3rd, and right now we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery. If you look closely, you can see the marine layer bouncing around the coastline here a bit. A little bit more towards the Bay Area here, but a lot of this is being shunted offshore as well, so there could be some sunny skies to be had along the coastal areas this morning. But if you look out across the Pacific, you can see the next storm system burrowing into the Pacific Northwest will bring some precipitation in Northern California. We'll see how far south that will sag. Also another system as we go through the end of the weekend into early next week, and then we'll look at the extended forecast as it looks like the GFS and the European bringing some interesting systems down across California, but there's still some big model disagreement to look at. And the channel's doing pretty great here. You can see subscriber count continues to grow here. We're almost to 5,000. Thanks for everybody who's been supporting the page so far. Couldn't do it without you, of course. And if you want to join, become a member, click that join button down below. Now, taking a look back in 2002, I wanted to point this out. Dense fog in southern Los Angeles. So if you encounter some of this activity here as we go through the fall months, the first thing to do is slow down. Do not come to a complete stop there, but do slow down. And amazingly, no fatalities in this 194 vehicle pile up there. And you can see 1915, 2010, some very warm temperatures still possible this time of year. Here we go. Total rain Saturday through Tuesday, and this comes down towards the Bay Area, kind of the cat and mouse game with how far the south is going to sag over the next few days. We'll take a look at that in the weather models in a moment. Kind of trending a little bit drier, but we still have some good precipitation amounts coming from Northwest California here. And this is the initial system, and this would be the secondary system here. Now, looking at Reno, Nevada, National Weather Service talking about the gusty winds for the higher terrain and some interesting precipitation totals as well. We could have some upper elevation snowfall as we go on in through early next week. Also, we'll take a look at that as we go through the video here this morning. Check it out in Arizona. Some very nice, comfortable temperatures here. What a time of year across some of the desert areas as things start to cool down enough. We're not dealing with that oppressive heat out there. And you can see very comfortable temperatures. And we're going to be dropping off these temperatures over the next few days as well. More on that here in a bit. And if you want a nice affordable home weather station, record all this crazy weather we get here along the West Coast, or if you just want to see the UV index on a daily basis, check this one out. Highly recommend it. Click on that link down below to save 10%. Now, looking at the NAM3 cam, with these systems moving through, you can see we're going to turn some onshore flow back on and some pretty gusty winds across some of the higher areas of the Sierra Nevada. Some places getting up over 50 miles per hour, as you can see here. So just a heads up for that if you're going to be off in the backcountry here as you go on in through this weekend. Now, taking a look at 700 millibars, this is about 10,000 feet. And you can see the state of California here. We're looking at temperature at 10,000 feet, upper levels of the atmosphere. You can see the kind of the ridging in effect now, but then you can see the system start to slide through and the cooler, chillier air rolls in across much of the region here. It's going to be felt at the surface here all the way across much of the southwest. Also, this would be about Tuesday afternoon shown there. So you can kind of see that nice visual diagram of what's occurring at the upper levels of the atmosphere. Taking a look at total snow, 10-to-1 ratio. Let's put this into motion here, and you can see a bit of snowfall in the European as we go through mainly Monday night into Tuesday morning here. A few inches could fall across some of the higher terrain of Northern California and northern and central Sierra Nevada here. Nothing too crazy right now, but some interesting systems do loom off into the future. We're just still trying to get some forecast confidence there between the GFS and the European. Now, looking at daily 2-meter maximum temperature in the National Blend of Models, this would be for today. You can see some mid and upper 70s, even some 80s here, mid 80s for the coastal areas here. Nice warm across the desert regions here. And then tomorrow, some 80s maybe across some of the Central Valley as well. Then we start the gradual cool down. As you can see, down in the mid 70s. And by the time we get towards Tuesday, look at only in the 60s for the valley areas, definitely cooling down across Southern California, the deserts, Arizona as well, as we go on into Wednesday and Thursday, kind of remaining cool here as we're going to get some systems trying to move down over the region here. And as I scroll through, look at this, only at the mid and lower 60s across some of the valley areas here and cooling down across a lot of the desert areas. That would be some very nice, comfortable temperatures across some of the desert areas. And you probably see some people out in jackets with that temperature, the temperature change upcoming as well. And this is looking at 2-meter temperature anomaly here on the European. You can see things generally above average right now. And we're going to scroll through this a little bit here, and you can clearly see the cooler air that it will be arriving here as we go on into the early portion of next week, dropping temperatures below average. So this would be sometime into the mid portion of next week, and that is current right there. So you can see the changes upcoming here, and I showed you that with some of the temperatures aloft at 10,000 feet. Looking at the European on the left versus the GFS on the right, so you can see the system move through the Pacific Northwest yesterday. This is the next one out of the Pacific that we saw in that infrared satellite imagery. It's going to be impacting some in Northern California. And the next system should be a bit stronger as we go through Monday night into Tuesday with some snow for the higher terrain there. You can see it swinging through. And then we get a little bit of model disagreement. The GFS coming in pretty hot and heavy with a fairly robust system right here. But we do have the troughing here on the European on the left also. And then you can see we start to get some model disagreement as we go on to the extent that the European wants to bring some very interesting systems all the way down through Southern California here, while the GFS has a ridge. So you couldn't be more polar opposite here in what some of the model runs are showing. But if we back up here, you can see that the GFS did have a deeper trough initially also. So we have some model disagreement we need to work out before we get too excited about the extended forecast, as this would be a very interesting solution on the European continuing to keep troughing right over the state of California. Now, what would that mean? This is yesterday afternoon's European model run. Strong storm into the Pacific Northwest, does clip portions of Northern California, tries to bring a little precip down towards the Bay Area, maybe not quite making it in the next system, a little bit of light rain there as well. And this is the one that could bring some snow for the higher terrain of the Sierra Nevadas here also. And we get a little bit of a break here. And then the European wants to bring some additional storm systems down across the region. Look at this frontal system driving all the way down across Southern California. But it's fantasy land right now. We're looking at 10 plus day time period here. So plenty of time to worry about that and kind of get our bearings on just what's going to come. But again, another interesting system at the very end of the European run. Now, taking a look at total precipitation initials, we're going to fly through this fairly quick, but you can see we get a couple shots of precip here over the next couple systems. Not too much shown for the Bay Area right now. But if we scroll out further here, let's look at what those systems would bring. This would be quite dynamic here. As you can see, some interesting totals all the way down through Southern California. Too bad it's just fantasy for now. So we'll just kind of wait and go day by day and try to get some model agreement between the GFS and the European. Here's the 8 to 14 day temperature probability outlook. And you got to remember, this is from November 10th through the 16th. So this isn't really showing too much of what's coming up through the early portion of next week. 8 to 14 day kind of still showing that, hinting for some troughing activity here across the West Coast. Been talking about this for a while here. We have to just continue to bide our time and wait and see what's going to be coming here. But anyway, hope you guys are liking the channel so far. Again, click like and subscribe if you would. The Pacific Northwest channel is doing well also. I know some of you guys are dual members here, and sometimes, the weather does line up quite nicely between what happens across Pacific Northwest and California. Sometimes these storms can affect the entire West Coast here as you go through November. A pretty stormy period coming up here, and we're bound to get one of these systems here as we go through the mid portion that will affect many areas of California. We just have to kind of wait and see what's coming here in the models. But anyway, hope you guys are liking the videos. Click like and subscribe. I will talk to you guys tomorrow, and I'll see you then.